Welcome to Heartglow CEO, where high-performing leaders learn to regulate stress, strengthen self-trust, and make clear decisions without sacrificing their health or values. I'm Casey Rossi, Integrative Leadership Coach. Expect practical nervous system tools, conscious leadership insights, and real conversations that bring achievement into alignment. Take a deep breath with me, and let's dive in. I keep hearing some version of the same sentence from thoughtful, mission-driven leaders. I can do this. I just don't know if I can keep doing it this way. That sentence matters because most high-responsibility leaders are not afraid of hard work. They're not looking for a pass, a shortcut, or even a softer standard. Many of them care so deeply about the mission that they have trained themselves to override exhaustion, ignore resentment, delay recovery, and call it commitment. For a while, we praised that as resilience, especially after the pandemic. Resilience became the word everyone reached for. Adapt, pivot, keep going, figure it out, hold the team, stay steady, be grateful that you can still serve. There was truth in that. Leaders did need strength. Yet somewhere along the way, resilience became distorted. It started to sound less like support and more like pressure. Instead of creating breathing room, it often became a polished way of saying, "Suck it up, buttercup, keep carrying it." And that is not sustainable leadership. That is survival in a blazer. So today, I want to offer a different frame: leadership capacity. Leadership capacity is the room that you have available to meet what is real. It includes your energy, attention, emotional range, nervous system steadiness, or said another way, nervous system regulation, decision-making ability, relational honesty, such a big one, and recovery, which is often overlooked. It is the difference between technically functioning and actually leading. You could still answer emails, run the meeting, make the decision, and smile at the right moments while being internally over capacity. Can you relate to that? And many leaders are very good at appearing fine. The cost usually shows up somewhere else: impatience, fogginess, avoidance, procrastination, irritability, and then even at a deeper level, sleep disruption, emotional distance or apathy, and a quiet sense of I have nothing left when the day is done. Breaks my heart when a leader comes to me like this. This is where capacity becomes more honest than resilience. Resilience often asks, can you bounce back? Capacity asks, what are you bouncing back into? If the same conditions keep draining the same people in the same ways, bouncing back is not an answer. At some point, the work itself needs to be examined. The pace, the expectations, the decision load, the communication habits, the unclear roles, the lack of recovery, the way that care often gets confused with overfunctioning. I can feel some of you nodding your heads right now. For mission-driven leaders, this can be very tender territory. So let's just take a breath here together. When the work matters, it's easy to make your own limits feel inconvenient. You may tell yourself, this is important, people are counting on me, I should be able to handle this. And maybe you can. But leadership capacity is not just about what you can handle, it's about what your handling is costing. From a nervous system perspective, capacity is the space between activation and reaction. I want you to think about that for a minute. Capacity is the space between activation and reaction. When your system has enough room, pressure does not become automatically this urgency. Feedback does not automatically become a threat. A difficult conversation does not automatically become something to avoid, control, or over-explain. There is enough steadiness to choose. From a cognitive perspective, capacity protects judgment. Chronic stress affects the executive functions leaders rely on every day: attention, working memory, emotional regulation, impulse control. You know this. You know this because you know EQ. We're really just breaking down that EQ bubble, that EQ model. Flexible thinking, prioritization. In plain English, depletion makes it harder to see clearly. That is why burnout is not only a wellness issue. It changes how leaders listen, decide, communicate, relate, and imagine what's possible. Inside an organization, capacity spreads. A leader who is constantly over capacity may not intend to create pressure around them, but the team usually feels it. Urgency becomes the atmosphere. People hesitate to bring bad news. Meetings get heavy. Communication becomes defensive. Small issues linger because no one has the room to name them early. The organization may still be moving, but movement is not the same as health. Healthy capacity feels different. There is more truth-telling because reality is not treated like a threat. There is more trust because leaders stop making promises from depletion. There is more creativity because people need some degree of safety to think beyond survival. There is more follow-through because priorities are connected to actual resources, not wishful thinking. This is where impact and sanity meet. A leader with stronger capacity is not less committed. I want you to hear that. They're just more available. Available to hear what is being said beneath the words. Available to notice when a decision is being driven by fear, guilt, urgency, or that old proving energy. To pause before saying yes. That's huge. Available to ask, is this mine to carry, or have I confused care with control? Available to lead the mission without disappearing inside of it. For the organization, leadership capacity is not a nice extra. It affects retention, trust, execution, culture, the quality of decisions being made under pressure. I know it's so important for people who are investing in their team to see actual outcomes. Here are the outcomes: retention, trust, execution, culture, quality decisions. For the individual leader, it is deeply personal. Capacity is what allows you to succeed without abandoning yourself. What a concept. Here is a simple place to begin this week. Choose one responsibility, goal, relationship, or initiative that just doesn't feel like it's fitting, or it feels a little bit heavier than it should. Something isn't feeling aligned for you. And then ask yourself, what is this currently requiring of me? And take that pause to listen. Allow the wisdom in your cells to bubble up and inform you. Another question might be, what resource does it need to be sustainable? Actually, said another way, what resource do I need in order to be sustainable? Does something need to be clarified or simplified? Oftentimes it's the second one. Oftentimes we overcomplicate for a variety of reasons, but that's a really powerful question. Can this be simplified? Is it less urgent that it can actually be paused or deleted, or at the very least delegated? Or maybe there's not too many steps before you can actually call it completed, where you don't have to go round and round and round like Groundhog Day. You can also go one layer deeper. Am I leading this from grounded capacity or from obligation, urgency, guilt, fear, or the need to prove I can handle it? No shame, just information. The point is not to become fragile. It's not to care less, and it's not to step away from meaningful work. The point is to stop treating depletion as proof of devotion. I've talked about this before on the show. Having been someone that really wore adrenal fatigue and perfectionism as a badge, as something that really proved that I was working hard. And to me, in my earlier days, overcapacity was my capacity. That was what I had trained myself to define hard work. That was like hard work in motion. So, what I care about now is really being proactive and preventing burnout, preventing this link that has our self-worth attached to our productivity. Mission-driven leadership needs heart, absolutely. It also needs structure, recovery, honesty, and enough internal room to keep choosing well. Have you even thought about those words, internal room? I invite you, if you're a journaler, to even take a moment to define what that means to you. What does enough internal room mean to you? I think you're going to be surprised at what your system allows you to witness. And finally, as we start wrapping up, you can care deeply and still need breathing room. You can lead boldly and still honor your limits. You can build something meaningful without making your nervous system the hidden cost of the mission. Impact and sanity are not opposites. For the next era in leadership, they may need to become partners. I invite you to take the capacity audit into your week. One honest look can open the door to a cleaner decision, a braver conversation, or a much needed boundary. And if your team or organization is ready to look at leadership capacity in a deeper way, this is the heart of my work with mission-driven leaders. Okay, my friend, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, breathe joy.